Hey guys, so I ended up getting a Mako R1 from Walrus Audio, and it's pretty awesome. I ended up getting it today. I lucked out on finding one in stock. I paid for it with my own money, so this isn't a sponsored review or anything. I'm not even sure Walrus knows my channel exists. So I'm going to get started using the harp patch because it's nice to listen to what the algorithms are doing. And I'll get started with my least favorite algorithm, which would be the spring. Spring is my least favorite on any reverb, but yeah, people are probably going to ask, so here we go. As springs go, that does sound really good. So every reverb algorithm lets you add a swell to it. Let's give that a listen. That's pretty neat. You can add modulation, and you can change the pre-delay. You can change the rate and depth of the modulation. We'll listen to that in the hall and the plate. And yeah, we'll also look at the equalization curves. You can change the tails of the equalization for the reverb tails. So let's listen to that on spring since it's really evident. So for low, obviously, if you set it up, the low frequencies will be attenuated. I should mention you should be listening to this on studio monitors or good stereo headphones. And then obviously we'll turn that back to middle, and then the high sets the high. Again in the reverb tails and not before that. So you can really shape your algorithms quite well. And then you have a special one called X, and X is different for every algorithm. For spring, it's the drive of the spring tank. So when you turn it up, you hear the spring getting hit harder with the preamplifier, or in this case a virtual preamplifier, but yeah. So yeah, it sounds pretty good. You can turn up the decay. Every algorithm also has a infinite sustain. It latches on and off, or you can hold it, for instance. And then now if I let go, it stops. Alright, let's go on to the Hall algorithm. In the Hall algorithm, the X now changes the size. We're going to keep the equalizer in the middle, so I'm make sure that the equalization curve for the tails is in the middle. But we'll turn it all the way up. Now we'll turn the size of the Hall all the way down, which is the X setting again. We'll also listen to modulation in this case, because I think modulated halls are one of my favorite reverb types. I also like modulated plates, but yeah, let's add that. We're going to turn it all the way up. So we're just going to turn it to 11 here. You can hear it's like a pitch vibrato on the reverb tails. It's not applied beforehand, it's just applied to the effect or the wet signal. So yeah, that's just to show you what it's doing. We'll turn it down to something sane. I like the rate down quite a bit, and then the depth about maybe 40% or so. It's even a little too much for me. I think that sounds gorgeous. The Hall algorithm is great on this thing. So let's go ahead and turn off the modulation for the next one to get started. But yeah, it's still in the Hall. Lovely. Okay, now we're going to go over to the plate. Now, one thing I am going to complain about is this program knob, if Walrus is actually listening. This is a weird program knob. It is literally just an infinite potentiometer. It doesn't have detents in the settings. So you either have to look at it or just listen. You can't really tell without looking that you've notched into a specific algorithm. It's a little weird. Alright, so that's the plate, and the X is turned all the way up on that, and X is drive, just like it is on spring. It's a little too much, but turn the mix down a little. I do want to say, if anybody from Walrus is watching this, I will say one thing about your plate algorithm. It is fantastic. Especially with that drive characteristic. So let's turn up the decay a lot, and let's add a little bit of modulation to that. We'll turn the speed way down. Turn down the mix. Just as a heads up, I do have pre-decay turned off on, or pre-delay turned off on everything. At least I should. I'm not a fan of having a pre-delay usually, except in like a Hall algorithm. So yeah, that plate is lovely. I will switch my patches in a minute here when we go into the next reverb algorithm, which is actually the BFR, which stands for Big Effing Reverb, just like BFG in the Doom series. It's actually the major reason I bought this, because I love multi-tap delays that turn into a reverb, like the cloud algorithm on the Big Sky, or the same thing you can do on the Polymoon, for example, where you get to use diffusion on a multi-tap. That's exactly what X does in this. We'll turn the X all the way down. Turn up the decay, and we'll turn up the mix. In the opening demo, I used this for the harp patch. I think it's gorgeous. I wouldn't say I like it more than the cloud algorithm from the Big Sky, or the diffused algorithm from the Night Sky, but I like it just as much. I think anybody looking for something like that would be happy with this reverb as well. You have infinite, like I said, sustain in all of the algorithms, and it sounds unbelievably amazing in the BFR. Let's switch to a different patch. All right. So one of the other features I'm going to demo right now is, I hope you have headphones, because it's going to matter in this one, and it has to be stereo. But you can set the stereo width of any of the algorithms. So to do that, you hold bypass. You have to make sure you're in the X setting here on the toggle, and then tune becomes your your width. So for instance, I'm going to turn it all the way down. Now it'll be a mono reverb. But yeah, so it goes from mono. I'll go to the harp patch. I have the bass melody programmed in there, so I can do it. So yeah, didn't want to talk through that because I wanted you to hear the stereo width, but pretty cool. So let's go to the refract. This one is kind of like a glitchy. Algorithm. I think it sounds fantastic. It sounds best when it's kind of in a mono signal though, because once you add some stereo width to it, it kind of disappears on the glitchiness. So I'll start that melody again, and you can hear that. It still sounds really fantastically cool though. And like I said, I just really got this, so I gotta look this up, but the X parameter on the glitch, or the refract, it changes the glitch from dark and lo-fi at the minimum to bright and present at the higher. Oh, that's so cool. Oh, I don't know. That's interesting on its own. That's one of the standout algorithms, I believe, on this. I thought the BFR was, but man, that's cool. Let's sustain that. Oh, that's amazing. Turn down the mix a little there. Yeah, you add some width to that. I mean, it gets a little less glitchy because it gets smeared across the stereo spectrum, but wow. So to the far right, that's like ultra stereo, or I don't know what else you want to call it. It's very plus ultra of it, I guess. But then back into mono signal. Okay, at first I'm like, the BFR algorithm's really cool and it's a good algorithm, the Hall's great, but this refract algorithm is, yeah, that's something else, especially in stereo. I'm just really started playing with the stereo field here while I'm doing this video with you guys, so I'm surprised at how good that sounds. I'm like, this is first impressions of that stereo field being all the way up on that, but wow. That's just amazing. All right, let's go to the last algorithm, which is called Air, which is kind of like their shimmer. The RV500 has something similar to this as well, that adds like, it adds, well, on the RV500 it doesn't add shimmer, but it adds like a storm. It's called storm. It adds like air effects to it, and that's what Air is here. It's like a cross between a shimmer and, I don't know what it calls it here. It says Air. The Air program offers a large diffused reverb with subtle shimmer, adds a more crisp clarity to its decay. Explore slow building sounds that don't give away to your playing. Air complements keys and synths so well. Okay, well, yeah. The second opening demo, I used that on that pad. I didn't try it on a plucked patch, so let's do that. So the X knob is the wind and shimmer element, so let's just turn it all the way up. That's cool. Okay, that's cool. Let's add some modulation, shall we? Oh man, that's cool. Let's go back to my pad. Let's add the mix up a little, and I'll do the infinite sustain. Oh, didn't press it. Do we not have infinite sustain in this? I guess we don't. Oh. Guess we do, I just wasn't pressing it all the way. Of course we should, I did it in the opening before, so yeah, wasn't pressing it all the way. Wow. That's gorgeous. Let's add a little more modulation. Speed it up a little. Let's go back to that pluck patch. Kind of curious. Oh, that's kind of like a brooding sound. It's just so very dark. It's almost like an anti-shimmer. If you listen carefully, there's a lot of overtones to that. You can hear that, the wind noises. Oh, that's gorgeous. I thought I was gonna like the BFR algorithm as my favorite, but now air and refract, which are really special, are just amazing. Guess we could turn up the high frequency a little there. Let's turn up the decay a lot. Yeah, I like that. Well, this video has been going on for quite some time. Was messing with some of the algorithms. Like I said, it's not really like, I'm not reviewing this. I'm kind of just messing around with it. It's like my first real go at this pedal, and I really like it. It's surprisingly good. Yeah, I mean, in the future, I'm going to do a comparison of this pedal with some other pedals that I have that I really like, large ambient reverbs like the Big Sky. I've kept the Big Sky. That's the one reverb I've kept for almost like since first getting it like 3 or 4 years ago. It's one of my favorites. The Night Sky, I'll probably demo against this as well as the Ventress. The Ventress, I like it a lot. The E-Dome is very similar to the BFR. And so that'll be a cool comparison. So yeah, just wow. This thing was more surprising than I thought it would be. Oh, also in a future video, I got something a little interesting. It's not usually my style, but I know I've been featuring a lot of non-affordable pedals on the channel because I'm just I just like reverbs that much and stuff like that. But I bought one of these Flamma delay pedals just over like a few days ago through Amazon, and it actually surprised me. So I'm going to be making a video on this in the future. This thing actually sounds decent for the price point. I'll put it that way. I still say for a cheap device, you should really save up enough money to get a Zoom 70 CDR at the minimum. That thing is awesome, but for $70, this thing is cool. Anyway, thanks for watching my first thoughts on the Walrus Audio R1, and I will see you next time.